So today I'm going to show you 10 of our favorite cookies that you can make that are pretty simple, pretty basic, but taste amazing. So if you guys are ready, let's get cooking.
Now the first one is our mom's chocolate marshmallow cookies. Now it's so simple. You're going to start with a chocolate cake mix and just dump it into the bottom of your bowl. Next you're going to add 1/3 cup of vegetable oil. Next you're going to crack 2 eggs and just dump it into the bowl. Then just start mixing it together. I like to start with a whisk, and then at the end I like to use a spoon because it gets thick. Now it's time to start rolling it out. So I roll it into balls in about 1-inch size balls. Go ahead and fill up. I did 12 cookies on my cookie sheet. You're going to bake these at 350 degrees for about 5 to 6 minutes. When it's done, you're going to pull it out and put your marshmallows on. Now we want to melt the marshmallows a little bit, so we're going to put those back into the oven for about 2 to 2.5 minutes, just until they're really soft. You can make them golden brown if you want. Now I'm making my favorite frosting. I'll put the link down below in the description for you for my frosting link, but you can use whatever frosting you want. Then you just spread it right over top of your marshmallows. Now I would wait for these to cool just a little bit, or yeah, it will be a little melty. The second recipe is our mom's delicious no-bake cookies, or she likes to call them gorilla poops. You're first going to start by adding 2 tablespoons of butter. You're going to melt that over medium-high heat on your stovetop. Then you're going to add 1/2 cup of milk, and then 2 cups of sugar, and just dump that right in. Now we're going to mix this all together just so it doesn't burn on the bottom of your pan. Next, add 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder, and then you're going to add just a little bit of vanilla. So it's about 1/2 teaspoon to 1 teaspoon of vanilla. A little bit of salt, and then go ahead and mix that all together. Now once that starts to boil, go ahead and pull it off the stovetop, and you're going to add 3/4 cup of peanut butter. You can add creamy or chunky, whatever you prefer, and then mix that in until everything is nice and smooth. Next, add 2 cups of instant oatmeal or quick oats while your chocolate is still hot, because we want to be able to mix that really well together. Once that starts to dry, it's going to start to harden up, so we want to do it while it's hot. Now I love using cookie scoops when I scoop out these cookies, because then I don't have to burn my fingers, and they're all nice and even and proportional, and you get what I'm saying. I like to scoop them out on foil so the cleanup is nice and easy, and then you just let them dry. Once they're dry, they harden, and they are absolutely delicious. Next up is our brownie mix cookies. You're first going to start with 1 box of brownie mix and just dump that into your bowl. Next, you're going to add 1/4 cup of flour, 2 eggs, and then on top of that, you're going to add 1/4 cup of vegetable oil. Now go ahead and mix that all together. Now it will take a minute just because there's not a ton of liquid in there, and it's a brownie mix, so it's nice and thick. So if you need to use your hands, you can do that too. Once it's mixed pretty well, you're going to add about 1 cup of M&Ms. Now you can use big M&Ms or mini M&Ms, whichever ones you want to do. Again, I'm using my handy dandy cookie scoop because it just makes things a little bit easier. I have a special helper with me today doing that. Now you're going to bake them at 375 degrees for about 7 to 10 minutes. So watch them, make sure they don't burn. When they're all done, you can pull them out, and I like to eat them when they're nice and hot. The fourth recipe is our 4-ingredient chocolate Rolo cookies. Now you're going to start with 1 box of Devil's Food Cake or chocolate food cake if you can't find Devil's Food Cake. Go ahead and add 2 eggs to that. Then you're going to add 1/3 cup of vegetable oil. Then go ahead and mix that together. Now I started with a whisk, and then I went to a spoon because it gets a little thicker and a little harder. After the spoon, I literally went to my hands just to finish mixing it up. Go ahead and push that aside. Now it's time to unwrap the Rolos. You're going to take your unwrapped Rolo, which is very important, and you're going to cover it with a little bit of the dough. Roll it up and then put it onto your cookie sheet. Now I fit about 12 cookies onto my cookie sheet. So you're going to preheat your oven to 350 degrees and cook it for 7 to 8 minutes. Now you can sprinkle a little powdered sugar on top, but you don't have to. Anyways, when you open these things up, they are full of melted caramel, and it is my most favorite. The next recipe is our super soft sugar cookies. So first you're going to add 3/4 cup of butter, and 3/4 cup of sugar. Now go ahead and blend that together really well. Once that's all blended and mixed well together, you're going to add 2 eggs, 3 teaspoons of vanilla extract, and then mix it all together again. Once it's well combined, you're going to add a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 2 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder, and 2 1/4 cups of flour. Now this is the last time you have to mix it all together. So once it's all mixed and well combined, you're going to cover it with plastic wrap and stick it in the refrigerator to chill for about 30 minutes. Now it's time to roll the balls. So let me show you just a little trick when you make sugar cookies. Now you can make them with the cookie cutters, that's great, but it's really easy just to make them in balls, and then you just press them down a little bit so they'll be complete circles. Now you're going to bake these at 350 degrees for about 8 to 10 minutes. While they're baking, it's time to make the frosting. So you start with 2 1/2 cups powdered sugar, 3 tablespoons of butter that's softened, and you're going to mix those together, just the best that you can. Next, you're going to add 3 tablespoons of milk and a 1/2 tablespoon of vanilla extract. Now blend those very smoothly and softly so you don't get the powdered sugar everywhere, and your frosting will become thick and delicious. Now the trick is not to melt your butter, it's just to keep it softened, and that's how you get the buttercream texture. Then to decorate, you just add on your favorite sprinkles. Now these are super soft and delicious, and they work with any holiday. You just change up the sprinkles. But I love making them for Christmas. Next recipe is our sugar cookie fruit pizza. Now you're going to use the same sugar cookie recipe as before. The frosting is going to be a little bit different. So you're going to add 1 package of cream cheese, 1 8-ounce container of Cool Whip, 1 cup of powdered sugar, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Now mix that all up. You're going to frost your cookies, and then you're going to put on your favorite fruit. So we have strawberries, blackberries, mandarin oranges, kind of whatever fruit you love, you can put on there. The next recipe is one of our most popular recipes on our blog. It's called Andy's Mint Cookies. Now, you're going to start with 1 devil's food cake or chocolate food cake mix, 2 eggs, and then a 1/2 cup of oil. And then mix that all together until it is nice and well combined. Then you're going to roll it into small balls and put it on a cookie sheet. Now these don't spread out very much, so you can fit quite a few cookies onto your cookie sheet. Now you want to make sure you preheat your oven to 350 degrees. You're going to cook them for 6 to 9 minutes. Now when they're done, you're going to put an Andy's Mint cookie on top of each one. You want to do this while they're still hot, and then your Andy's Mints are going to melt on top. Then you just take a spoon, spread them out a little bit, and they're the perfect little topping for your cookie. Alright, my next cookie is called Orange Creamsicle Cookie. Now you're going to start by adding 2 1/2 cups of flour, 3/4 teaspoon of baking soda, and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Then you're going to mix that together a little bit and set it aside. In another bowl, you're going to take 1 cup of butter that's softened and mix it up. Add a 1/2 cup of sugar, a 1/2 cup of firmly packed brown sugar, and mix it together until it's well combined. On top of that, you're going to add 1 egg, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and go ahead and mix that together too with your sugar. Once that's together, go ahead and add in your flour mixture. And then, just like we've been doing, mix it till it's well combined. Now here's where it gets delicious. So you're going to add 2 tablespoons of orange zest, and then throw in 2 cups of white chocolate chips. You want to use white chocolate chips because it makes it taste so good. Now once that's all mixed together, your dough is ready. Sometimes I like using these little cookie dough scoops. You don't have to use this, you can roll them up in balls, but this makes it so they're all the same size and they're perfectly formed. Now once all filled, you're going to bake this at 375 degrees for about 8 to 10 minutes. Number 9 is our pumpkin snickerdoodle cookies. Now I'm gonna start with a half cup of vegetable shortening and then a half cup of butter. These are room temperature, so they'll be easy to mix. Then we're gonna add a half cup of light brown sugar and 1 cup of just normal white sugar. Then you're gonna add 1 large egg and a 3/4 cup of pumpkin puree. Go ahead and mix that all together until it's nice and well combined. Now you're ready for the dry ingredients. We're gonna add 3 1/4 cup of flour, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and 1 teaspoon of baking soda. And then lastly, you have a half teaspoon of cinnamon and a half teaspoon of salt. Now you are ready to mix it all together. Now once it gets really thick, I like to move to a spatula just to make sure everything is well combined. Now the dough is pretty sticky, so you can stick it in your fridge for about an hour, or you can stick it in your freezer for about 10 minutes. Now while that chills, I have a half cup of sugar, and then I have 1 teaspoon of cinnamon and a half teaspoon of ground ginger. We're gonna mix that all together because that's what we're gonna roll our dough in. Now you don't have to add the ground ginger. I just love it because I think it goes so well with the pumpkin. So you're going to take each bowl and then roll it in our little mixture and then put it right onto your cookie sheet. Now you're gonna preheat your oven to 400 degrees and cook them for 7 to 9 minutes, and they're gonna turn out perfect. Now if Santa needs a little healthier cookie at your home, we have our skinny chunky monkey cookies. We're gonna start with 3 bananas that you're just going to mash up. Then add 2 cups of old-fashioned oats, 1/4 cup of cocoa, 1/2 cup of applesauce, 1/4 cup of creamy peanut butter, 4 tablespoons of honey, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and about a 1/4 cup of chocolate chips. Those are optional, but I love just a little bit of chocolate chips in there. And as you know, I love my handy dandy cookie scoop. You're gonna scoop these out. You're gonna bake them at 350 degrees for about 10 to 12 minutes. Best part is they're only about 56 calories per cookie.
Now, if you loved these cookies for Santa and you need some other ideas, we have 3 ingredient desserts right up there. You can click on that and it will take you to some other awesome ideas. Okay guys, I'll see you later. Bye.